Hello, my name is Patrick Wilson,
And I'm Shaun Murtha.
and we are presenting Hot on the Trail, Mapping Wildland Fires with Citizen Science on behalf of the NASA Academy 2021. Heightened fire activity is straining existing firefighting resources and budgets across the nation and worldwide. For this reason, the 2021 NASA Academy at Langley Research Center, a multidisciplinary team of undergraduate and graduate students, was challenged with applying NASA technology to the challenges faced by wildland firefighting professionals. The approach we took was threefold, with sub-teams focusing on data acquisition, communications, and equipment development. Shaun and I worked on the communications team, focusing on improving data latency for fire mapping and advancing communications between civilians and incident dispatch. Our team developed two main concepts to address these areas. First, a software package to identify, map, and transmit fire permitted data via an uncrewed aerial system. And second, a fully functioning mobile app for early fire detection and fire monitoring using citizen science. Shaun and I specifically spent most of our summer working on programming and debugging the mobile app. Before I tell you about the app itself, let me explain the reason we created it. There is currently only one way for civilians to report wildfires, and that is by calling 911. While this is usually great for giving citizens information and noting down reports, it can be overwhelmed in emergency situations. This leads to time delays in information getting to wildfire management and a chance for reports to get overlooked entirely. No example demonstrates this more tragically than the Camp Fire of 2018. In this deadly and destructive emergency, the fire was spreading so fast it got to a second town before wildfire management knew the danger. Many 911 callers reported falling ash and smoke in advance of the official discovery, but were told not to worry. The quote on the bottom of the screen is from Carol Ladrini, a 911 dispatcher during the fire, and her sentiments reflect those of everyone involved. A tragedy like this should never happen again. It could be prevented through the faster sharing of information to wildfire management. That is where the app we created comes in, as it harnesses many observations in near real time to assist in the monitoring of what is happening and where values are immediately risked. The app is a way for people to report wildfires without overloading dispatch emergencies and supplements existing methods of detecting fire spread. You can think of the app like a network of mobile impromptu fire towers. Data generated by our app would be cross-referenced with satellite data for accuracy and uploaded regularly to a common operating picture. While we would love to share images and videos of our app and function, unfortunately, we are still undergoing the NASA software release process and cannot share any more details about the app at this time.
And while we can't share details about the app, what we can talk about is the more technical side of our project and what we've learned both about the front end and the back end side of development. To start off, we decided the best way to get our app to as many people as possible was to use a cross-platform toolkit called Flutter, which allowed us to program for iOS and Android at the same time. Front end or client side development is basically what the user sees and interacts with. And because of this, it's very important to have a good user experience, which means we had to learn a lot about visual interface design and responsiveness, color theory, and user action feedback. That being every time a user does an action on your app, that action should be tied to some feedback. That played a very big role in our app. We also made use of APIs or application programming interfaces for some of the widgets so that we could take open source work that other people have already programmed and release to the public and integrate that into our own code without needing to write it from scratch. And we can just use the function calls that they've provided for us. Next slide, please. The backend development is everything that the user doesn't see, but is necessary for the application to work properly. One example of this is our cloud database, which stores a bunch of data that we're pulling from to display within the front end widgets. We learned a lot about integrating these backend systems and modifying them to suit our constantly changing needs. Next slide. And so the next step for our app post development is getting proper NASA approval for release, as Patrick said. Once the app is released, once the app release is approved, rather, it can be then published to mobile app stores and will need further maintenance development and financial support to get off the ground. And another goal that we have is integration with existing fire data infrastructure such as tac.gov so that the app can help provide necessary data to those who need it most. And with that, that concludes our NASA Academy 2021 presentation. Thank you for tuning in.